Why are we born into this life, into this body, this family, this specific time and place? Is it all just random chance, a stroke of luck, or the mysterious will of some unseen power? According to Buddhist wisdom, the answer goes much deeper than fate or coincidence. In fact, nothing in this universe is random, especially not the birth of a human being. Buddhism teaches that being born is not the beginning of a story, but merely a continuation. You are not here by accident. Your presence in this world, with all its joy and suffering, is the direct result of past actions, your karma. The life you are living now is shaped by every intentional thought, word, and deed you've ever made, not only in this lifetime, but across countless past lives. This perspective shifts everything. It means that you are not a powerless victim of circumstance. You are the author of your own journey. Your past created your present, and what you choose to do now will shape your future. Life is not something that just happens to you. It is something you are constantly creating through the choices you make. In the following sections, we'll explore 5 essential truths behind the Buddhist view of birth and karma. These insights not only help us understand why we are here, but also empower us to take conscious responsibility for the path ahead. Because once you understand the law of karma, you will realize that your future is not written in the stars, it's written in your own hands. 1. Human birth is not random, it's the unfolding of karma. From a Buddhist perspective, the idea that we are born by chance, or through some random twist of fate, is not only incomplete, but fundamentally mistaken. According to the law of karma, every birth is the precise result of causes created in the past. Nothing arises without a cause, and certainly not something as profound and complex as human life. Our birth into this world is the fruit of countless actions, intentions, and thoughts, some from this life and many from lives before it. We are not here because a divine being placed us here. We are here because our own past choices carried us to this moment. The story of the blind monk. There's a well-known story in Buddhist tradition about a blind monk who lived during the Buddha's time. This monk was born without sight, and many people pitied him. But instead of becoming bitter, he practiced diligently, accepted his condition, and even attained a high level of insight. When asked why he was born blind, the Buddha explained, in a past life, the monk had been a cruel man who intentionally blinded others out of anger. His current blindness wasn't a punishment, it was the natural consequence of that action. But through his sincere effort in the present life, he purified that karma and transcended his limitations. This story speaks volumes. It teaches us that our current life is not the whole story, it's one chapter in a long book. If we judge only by this chapter, we might feel life is unfair. But when we see the bigger picture, we realize that every life is interconnected by the thread of karma. A personal reflection. I once met a woman who was born into a wealthy family, but from a young age, she suffered from depression, anxiety, and chronic illness. On the outside, she had everything. On the inside, she was falling apart. Meanwhile, another man I knew, an orphan raised in poverty, radiated peace, joy, and contentment. These two lives seem to contradict the idea that material conditions determine happiness. But from a karmic view, it made sense. The richness or poverty we see is not just physical, it's also karmic. Maybe the woman had given generously in the past, leading to wealth, but carried unresolved inner pain. Maybe the orphan had cultivated deep spiritual merit through patience and acceptance, now bearing fruit as inner peace. What we carry into this life is more than just genes and childhood, it's the echo of our own intentions across time. You are the result of what you have done. When we understand this truth, it transforms the way we view ourselves and others. That someone is born into hardship doesn't mean they are cursed, it simply means certain causes have ripened. That someone is born with privilege doesn't mean they are better, it just means they once sowed the right seeds. But here's the most empowering part, karma is not fixed. What you do today becomes the cause for what you experience tomorrow. If you feel stuck, you can start shifting your path, not by begging for a miracle, but by planting new seeds through compassion, mindfulness, and wisdom. So no, we are not born randomly. We are born purposefully through the natural unfolding of our own past. And that means our future is not out of our hands. In every moment, with every thought and choice, we are shaping what comes next. 2. Karma is the cause, birth is the result. In Buddhism, karma is not just a mystical word, it's a precise and universal law. Every intentional thought, word, or action creates a cause, and every cause must eventually produce a corresponding result. This is why Buddhism teaches, karma is the cause, and birth is the result. Nothing in our life simply happens, not the family we're born into, the body we inherit, our talents, or even the challenges we face. All of these are karmic results, the fruits of seeds we ourselves have sown in the past, whether in this lifetime or many lifetimes before. And once these seeds mature, they manifest as our present circumstances. The story of Angulimala. A powerful example of this is the story of Angulimala, a man who committed terrible deeds, murdering nearly 1,000 people before encountering the Buddha. When he met the Buddha, Angulimala experienced a deep awakening and renounced his violent life. He became a monk and devoted the rest of his days to practicing the Dharma. But despite his sincere transformation, Angulimala continued to face hatred and violence from people who feared and despised him. Even though he was no longer that person, the karma of his past actions still ripened. He accepted it without anger, knowing that this suffering was the result of seeds he had planted long ago. This story illustrates a vital truth: karma is not erased by intention alone, it must be lived through or purified. But it also shows that it's never too late to change direction. Even the darkest karma can be transformed through sincere practice, humility, and wisdom. My reflection: why this teaching liberated me. For a long time, I struggled with guilt over past mistakes, times I had spoken harshly, acted selfishly, or hurt others without fully realizing it. I thought spiritual growth meant forgetting the past and just moving on. But when I learned the Buddhist view of karma, I understood something deeper. The past doesn't disappear, but neither does it define me. What matters is how I respond to it. Yes, I've created causes that may bring pain. But I can also create new causes, right now, that will bring healing, clarity, and joy. Life is not a prison of fate. It's a mirror, constantly reflecting the seeds I plant. If I plant anger, I'll meet conflict. If I plant kindness, I'll meet connection. It's simple. It's just not always easy. This teaching helped me stop blaming the world. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, I began asking, what did I plant to arrive here, and what can I plant now to go somewhere better? That shift changed everything, from a victim of life to a co-creator of it. The subtle power of intention. It's important to note that karma is rooted in intention. Accidental harm does not create strong karmic results, but deliberate actions, whether for good or ill, carry great weight. A single act of compassion done with pure heart can outweigh many careless mistakes. This is why mindfulness is so essential. Every thought, every word, every action matters. So when Buddhism says, karma is the cause, birth is the result, it's not just describing some ancient metaphysical law, it's offering a living compass for how to navigate life. You are not stuck. You are not doomed. You are constantly planting your future with each step you take. And that, to me, is one of the most hopeful teachings in all of Buddhism. 3. Good and bad karma lead to different realms of rebirth. In the Buddhist view of the cosmos, not all lives are created equal, not in the sense of value, but in the sense of conditions. The universe is composed of many realms of existence, ranging from heavenly worlds of bliss to hellish realms of suffering, and everything in between. Which realm one is born into depends entirely on the quality of their karma. Karma, again, is not about reward or punishment. There is no divine judge handing out destinies. It's about energy. When we act with compassion, generosity, and wisdom, we generate good karma, which brings lighter, more favorable results. When we act with cruelty, greed, and ignorance, we generate bad karma, which pulls us into darker experiences. And the most profound shift of all? These karmic energies don't just shape our current lives, they also determine the realm into which we are reborn. The 6 realms of existence. Buddhism describes 6 main realms in the cycle of rebirth. 1. Deva, heavenly beings, result of great merit and virtue, lives of comfort and pleasure, but still impermanent. 2. Asura, demigods born from pride and competitiveness, powerful but constantly in conflict. 3. Human, a rare and precious rebirth, balanced between suffering and pleasure, offering the best conditions for awakening. 4. Animal, born from ignorance, dominated by instinct and fear. 5. Hungry ghost, predators born from extreme greed and attachment, full of craving, never satisfied. 6. Hell beings, born from hatred and violence, realms of intense suffering. These are not just metaphors. They are energetic states of existence into which beings are reborn based on the karma they've cultivated. A story, The Kind Butcher and the Angry Monk. There's a famous Buddhist tale of a monk who was known for his strict practice, but had a terrible temper. He would lose his patience with other monks and speak harshly to lay people. In the same village lived a butcher who, despite his profession, was extremely kind to his family, respectful to monks, and generous to the poor. When both died, something surprising happened. The monk was reborn in a lower realm due to the weight of his anger, while the butcher was reborn in a better realm because of his genuine kindness. The lesson? It's not just what you do, it's the intention, attitude, and energy behind your actions. Even someone with a bad job in society can accumulate good karma if their heart is pure. My reflection, seeing the world through the lens of karma. When I first learned about this teaching, I began looking at people differently. I used to envy those who seemed lucky, born into wealth, beauty, or fame, and feel pity for those struggling. But now I understand, everyone is experiencing the ripening of their own karma. That doesn't mean we shouldn't help others, but it reminds us that suffering and success both have deep roots. It also made me reflect on how rare and valuable this human life is. To be born as a human, with the physical and mental capacity to understand the Dharma, to choose our actions consciously, that's no small thing. The Buddha said it's rarer than a turtle surfacing once every 100 years and just happening to poke its head through a floating yolk in the vast ocean. That image stuck with me. It made me want to use this life wisely, not waste it chasing distractions or nursing old grudges. Because if I don't use this chance to generate good karma now, who knows where I'll end up next? You are sowing your future, right now. Every time we choose kindness over cruelty, patience over anger, generosity over greed, we're sowing seeds for a better future. Not just in this life, but in whatever comes next. That's not superstition. It's spiritual responsibility. So whether you believe in literal realms of rebirth or see them as psychological states, the message is the same. What you do now creates what you become later. And the kind of energy you carry, whether heavy with resentment or light with compassion, determines the path you'll walk. 4. You are the owner of your karma. One of the most empowering, and at the same time, sobering, truths in Buddhism is this: you are the sole owner of your karma. No one else can create it for you, and no one else can bear its consequences in your place. Your life, as it is right now, is the product of your past intentions, actions, and thoughts. And your future will be shaped by what you choose today. This teaching isn't about blame, it's about radical responsibility. The Buddha once said, "Beings are the owners of their karma, heirs to their karma, they are born of their karma, related to their karma, and abide supported by their karma." Anguttara Nikaya. In other words, karma is your true inheritance, not your money, your name, or your status. It is the invisible momentum that follows you from life to life. Wherever you go, karma goes with you. The story of the merchant's son. There's an old Buddhist tale about a wealthy merchant's son who lived a life of luxury and indulgence. Though his parents were devout and charitable, he spent his time drinking, gambling, and disrespecting others. When he fell ill and died young, people were shocked. How could someone from such a good family meet such a fate? A wise monk explained, he was born into wealth because of past good karma, but he squandered it with his present actions. His parents' virtue could not protect him from the karma he created for himself. This story is a clear reminder that karma is personal. Even if you're surrounded by saints, it's your own choices that shape your journey. My reflection, taking back the steering wheel. For much of my life, I believed that I was shaped by my environment, my parents, society, culture, luck. And while those things do influence us, the Buddhist teaching on karma made me realize something deeper: they don't define us. What defines us is how we respond. When I looked closely, I saw that many of my own patterns, whether helpful or harmful, came from me. My anger wasn't because they made me angry. It was because I hadn't learned to manage my reactions. My sadness wasn't just from bad luck, it was often the result of clinging to things I couldn't control. Realizing that I was the owner of my karma was both uncomfortable and liberating. Uncomfortable because it meant I had to stop blaming others. Liberating because it meant I could change. I wasn't stuck. I could start planting better seeds. I could respond differently. I could choose again. No one can save you but yourself. Another profound implication of this teaching is that no one, not even the Buddha, can erase your karma for you. Teachers can guide you. Friends can support you. But walking the path? That's on you. This doesn't mean you're alone, it means you're powerful. You have the ability to stop the cycle of suffering, not by depending on miracles, but by transforming your own heart and mind. Moment by moment, decision by decision. The good news is that karma works both ways. Just as harmful actions create suffering, wholesome actions create joy and clarity. Each time you choose patience over anger, honesty over deceit, generosity over selfishness, you're literally rewriting your karmic path. From victim to creator. Seeing yourself as the owner of your karma is a deep shift, from victim to creator, from helpless to capable. It doesn't mean everything that happens is your fault, but it does mean everything you do matters. And that's the heart of this teaching. You are not here to be controlled by life. You are here to shape it through mindful, intentional living. 5. Birth is just one moment in the endless stream of cause and effect. In the Buddhist worldview, birth is not the beginning, and death is not the end. Instead, life is a continuous, ever-flowing stream, a current of consciousness carried by karma across lifetimes. Each birth is not a fresh start, but rather a continuation, shaped by what came before and shaping what comes after. This view is both humbling and expansive. It tells us that existence is part of an endless cycle called samsara, the wheel of birth and death, fueled by ignorance and craving, and governed by the law of karma. Unless we awaken, we continue spinning through this wheel, lifetime after lifetime, sometimes as humans, sometimes not. The story of the turtle and the yolk. To illustrate how rare and precious a human birth is, the Buddha shared a striking image. Imagine a blind turtle living in the vast ocean. Once every 100 years, it surfaces to breathe. Floating somewhere on the ocean's surface is a single wooden yolk with a hole in it. The chances of that turtle, surfacing at random, placing its head through the hole is the same as the chance of being born as a human with the conditions to practice the Dharma. This story is not meant to frighten us, it's meant to awaken us. It reminds us that being born human, with awareness and the ability to make choices, is an incredibly rare and sacred opportunity. If we waste this chance chasing pleasure or clinging to illusion, we may not find our way back for a very long time. My reflection, seeing life as a link in the chain. When I first heard this teaching, I was stunned. I had always thought of my life as my one chance or this short story I have to get right. But Buddhism offered something more profound. Life is a chapter, not the whole book. And the actions I take now don't just affect me, they ripple across time, shaping future lives I can't yet remember or imagine. This changed the way I saw everything. I stopped asking, why me, and began asking, what am I meant to learn here? Instead of trying to escape difficulty, I began to listen to it. Every challenge became part of a deeper unfolding. Every moment of mindfulness, every act of kindness, became a step toward liberation, not just for me, but for the future being I will one day become. We are the weavers of our own thread. The idea that we are constantly being reborn, based on karma, doesn't mean we are trapped, it means we have agency. We are not passive travelers. We are weavers in this great tapestry of existence. Our thoughts, words, and actions are threads, some bright, some dark, and we are constantly stitching the next piece of our journey. Each lifetime is one link in a vast, karmic chain. And unless we consciously choose to break the chain, through mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion, we will continue to circle through it, often without knowing why. But here's the miracle: right now, you are human. You are aware. You are reading these words. That means you can choose. You can begin to awaken. You can begin to plant seeds not only for better future lives, but for liberation from the cycle itself. A final thought. Birth is not random. It is the result of karma. But karma is not fate. It is fluid, dynamic, and always responding to your intention. So live with awareness. Speak with kindness. Act with courage. Because every moment is shaping not just who you are, but who you will become. Conclusion: you are the author of your own becoming. When we truly understand the law of karma, that our birth, our life, and even our future rebirths are not random, but the natural results of our past thoughts, words, and actions, it awakens something powerful within us: responsibility, clarity, and hope. We begin to see that this life, with all its imperfections and beauty, is not a punishment nor a gift handed out by some cosmic force. It is our own creation, shaped by the momentum of choices we've made across lifetimes. We are not here by accident. We are here because the seeds we planted have ripened, and what we do now is planting seeds for tomorrow. Every rebirth, whether in a realm of joy or suffering, is not a final destination, but just one stop on an endless journey through the ocean of samsara. But it doesn't have to go on forever. The cycle can be broken. And it begins with awareness. To realize that we are the owners of our karma is not a burden, it's a doorway to freedom. Because if our actions brought us here, then new actions can take us elsewhere. Through mindfulness, ethical living, compassion, and wisdom, we can begin to shift the entire trajectory of our existence. We are not stuck in the past. We are not victims of fate. We are living authors of a story still unfolding. So ask yourself, what kind of seeds am I planting today? What kind of future am I creating, not just in this life, but beyond? Am I living with awareness or drifting in habit? Am I moving toward liberation or deeper into the cycle? The truth is, every moment is a chance to choose again. And in choosing well, we take a step not only toward a brighter life, but toward awakening itself.